Midwestern States Railroad Company was negligent in operating a safe railway in such a way that led to the death of Haley Gilmore. The defendant claims that Gilmore drove in such a way that led to his death. The plaintiff is seeking monetary damages. Here are the facts of the case. On May 10, 1999, a Midwestern States Railroad Company freight train was traveling at approximately 54 miles per hour, heading north on tracks in rural Lincoln County, Illinois. It was 1:45 p.m. on a clear afternoon when the train rounded a bend and approached the crossing. While the crossing is clear of vegetation, there are stands of trees about 1/4 of a mile north and south. The crossing is an ungated crossing on Center Road, but has flashing lights, bells, and advance warning clearly painted on the highway pavement. As the train rounded the bend and exited the trees, the train engineer noted that a pickup truck was traveling along the frontage road. The driver of the truck was Haley Gilmore. Gilmore had 2 passengers in the truck, Madison Bagley and Terry Avenue. Gilmore was killed instantly. We will now begin. Bailiff, please bring the prosecution witnesses to the stand.
Prosecution, please rise. I follow you. Stay standing, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated.
Leslie Gilmore, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Leslie Gilmore. Haley Gilmore was my only son. He was our only child. I am so angry. The railroads are saying that this accident is all my kid's fault. I don't buy that. I think that the railroads bear some of the responsibility for this kind of accident. Sometimes more than a simple small crossing sign with dim lights needs to be out there to warn of the possible dangers of an oncoming train. Some of the witnesses don't remember hearing the train whistle. Why aren't they automatic? Lights should flash at the crossing and on the train. Was that train's headlight on? Was it on as brightly as it should have been? Was the whistle blowing? Was it loud enough? The transportation people admit that dirty windows and loud stereos and air conditioning can prevent drivers from hearing the warning signals. Well, why haven't they done something about that? Why aren't the whistles louder? Why aren't there crossing gates at those rural crossings? Does the brakes fail? I know trains take a long time to stop, but if it had slowed a bit more, maybe the accident would have been fatal and my kid would have just had a head injury like Madison and Terry. I raised my child to obey the laws of this country. Haley was a respectful, intelligent, thinking person with the brightest future imaginable. Haley had been driving since his 16th birthday, almost a full year. Never had a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, or anything of the kind. The local police are pretty strict with the kids too. They don't let them get away with anything.
Madison Bagley, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Madison Bagley. On May 10th, I went for a ride in the country with my 2 friends, Haley Gilmore and Terry Agnew. Haley had gotten a new truck from his parents as an early graduation present. We had been playing around with the truck's stereo system and wanted to ride out to the countryside to really test the sound. I remember turning onto a narrow road and heading alongside some railroad tracks. I was looking straight ahead. I never saw or heard the train. I remember we were all singing with the song that was playing on the radio. The truck's windows were rolled up. We had been on some gravel roads out on the country and had been laughing about how we're all going to help clean the truck. We had the air conditioner running and the radio. We started the day in town at a local diner. We got into the truck and turned on the radio and drove through town. We passed a few of our friends and they honked and we waved. We had the radio and the air conditioner then, just like we did when we were on the country. We heard the car horns but wasn't sure, and we definitely didn't hear the train whistle. I know for a fact that Haley was a careful driver. We slowed down to make a curve. I do remember that, but when Haley started to speed back up again. Haley must have not noticed the signals at all. I know I didn't notice them.
Ashton Keshner, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Ashton Keshner. I'm President and Chief Fiscal Officer of the Illinois Community Safety Coalition. First and foremost, a railroad has a duty of ordinary care to protect the safety of its motorists. This means that roads should be clearly marked to indicate the road crossing is ahead. Due to the serious nature of the hazard hazards these crossings create, the lack of precautions of any kind at a railroad crossing can constitute a wanton misconduct by the railroad. The crossing at Center Road had X's painted on the roadway. A sign was posted, the required distance for the crossing, and a crossing was marked with crosswalks and flashing lights. Was that enough? Obviously not. In addition, the crossing in the middle of farmland, with stands on trees on either side of the crossing, had the potential to be classified as extra hazardous. It is the coalition's position that the easiest and surest way to prevent rail crossing fatalities is to ensure that all crossings are gated. The railroads have duties to warn people that trains are coming. They absolutely should be held accountable for accidents like this one. They had a duty to adequately warn those kids that a train was bearing down at them at 50 or 60 some miles per hour. If the whistle didn't blow, or if it was loud enough, if the headlamp was too dim, if the flashing lights on the crossbar were obscured by weed and dust and dirt, all contribute to the negligence of the railroad.
Prosecution, do you have questions for the witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. This question is directed to Mr. Kashner. When was the last time you checked up on the train?
I checked up on the train like a few days after the accident to see the condition, if anything was wrong. And yeah.
Have you checked up on it before the crash?
No, I did not.
This question is directed to Ms. Bagley. During the ride, at any point, did Haley ever make you feel unsafe or uncomfortable?
No, Haley, as I said, was a careful driver, and we stopped and slowed down at every single curve, every stop sign, every light.
Thank you.
This question is directed towards Madison. How loud were you guys playing the radio?
We weren't playing it that loud, but we were singing along to it a little bit and focusing on the road mostly.
Thank you.
This question is directed to Miss Gilmore. Does Haley cause concerns, or like does he get into trouble a lot?
No, like I said, he always obeyed the laws and rules, and he was very respectful, intelligent, and very smart.
Thank you.
No more questions, Your Honor. Defense, do you have questions for the witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. This question is directed to Mr. Kashner. Were there flashing lights at the crossing?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Didn't you say it in your testimony?
Yes, there were flashing lights on the sign. There's the required distance away, but that's still not enough if they're like dimmed or obscured by weeds.
And there was a giant painted X in front of the roadway, correct?
Yes.
Were there signs?
Yes, there were signs, but they were all posted, like, they could have been more, like, obvious, but they were on the side of the road where there are, like, weeds grown, like, long weeds, and that could have, like, obscured the vision of the driver looking and seeing the signs.
And there was a crosswalk sign, correct?
Yes.
And isn't the purpose of a crosswalk sign to give the trains out of the way?
Objection, leading question.
Sustained. Please rephrase your question.
But you're allowed to ask leading questions to the other team's witness.
We established that no leading questions. Okay, so you can rephrase it, okay, to make it not leading. So instead of isn't this true, just ask the question directly.
Okay. What's the purpose of a crosswalk sign?
Crosswalk sign is to like show that there is a train coming and to watch for the train, because trains are
signs on the giant painted heads?
I mean, they could have, but I don't think they did, cause what, cause like, cause there were lots of different things, like any plants, tall, like trees around the block.
Okay, thank you. This question is directed towards Mrs. Gilmore. Since you are the parent of the victim, would you say you know what car he had, whether it was new, modern, or old?
Yeah, yes. It was very new. We got it for his 16th birthday, and it was a truck.
Would you say, just the question, have you ever been in his car?
Objection relevant?
Your Honor.
Overruled.
Yes, I would say that I have been in the car, in it because it was me who decided to get the car.
Thank you.
This question is directed to Madison Bailey. How would you describe the rural road in the countryside?
In the countryside, like I said, it was a little gravelly and very, very dirty with a lot of dirt splattering up.
Was the car dirty after taking it to ride?
Yes,
Objection, relevant.
Sustained. Please rephrase your question.
Your Honor, that question is very relevant to the case in establishing the timeline of events in what happened.
Please rephrase your question.
Did you say that you had to clean the car after taking the ride?
yes, as I said we all have to clean the truck in my testimony, but the dirt only came up halfway to the truck, so it wasn't fully, like, we could see through the windows.
You said that Haley was a careful driver, but how careful was he if he didn't notice the warning signs?
Haley was a very careful driver, and I personally, when I was looking straight ahead next to him, I also did not see the warning signs.
If you claim that you didn't see the warning signs, did you see the train tracks ahead of you?
Yes, I did see the train tracks, but I didn't hear anything, see anything. I just saw a lot of trees blocking the way.
This question is for Leslie Gilmore. So in your testimony, you asked why the whistles weren't louder because your child and his friends didn't hear them. So just to be clear, are you blaming the train company for not having loud enough whistles if your child and his friends were traveling on gravel roads, which are pretty noisy, singing, blasting the radio really loudly, having the windows up, and they had the air conditioner up?
I am just stating that I feel like that they should be louder, and as Madison said in her testimony, that they did hear other cars.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution witnesses, you're dismissed.
Please rise.
Bailiff, please bring your defense witnesses to the stand.
Defense witnesses, please rise.
And, all of you.
Please stay standing. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated.
Jan Martin, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Jan Martin. I have worked as an engineer for the Midwestern State Rail Company for around 20 years. On May 10th, my train was traveling a little under 60 miles per hour. 60 was the maximum speed allowed on those tracks. It was a clear afternoon. When I rounded the bend, I noticed a truck that looked like it was trying to race the train. Blowing the whistle is as automatic as breathing. When I saw that truck, I blew it for all it was worth. I knew that crossing the 846 was an ungated crossing, but I sure hoped the flashing lights, bells, and train's whistle would make that cross so dazzling. I released the throttle and began using hydraulic brakes, hoping that the brakes, along with a low rate increase, would help slow the train down in time. Given the size and weight of the train, it was pretty much a given that unless the whistle and all the flashing lights at the crossing did for the driver and the people in the truck were in big trouble.
Ari Milano, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Ari Milano, and I own a farm in Lincoln County, right outside of Tate Road. On May 10th, I was returning from one of my fields. My tractor had been making funny noises, but I could still see and hear the train coming. I also saw the truck driving along the frontage road. Looked like a real race was going on, except the train always goes that fast. It's a regular freight, comes through daily. It's been coming through right on schedule for so long. I sometimes seem to block out the noise of the train and the whistle. I can't say for sure whether the whistle was blowing, but I do know that the lights were flashing at that crossing. That I do remember quite clearly. I never saw brake lights on the truck at all. They must never have known what hit them. At first, I thought maybe those kids hadn't seen the train. Maybe the weeds around the crossing had blocked the view of the flashing lights. But then I remembered that I'd spoken with the crew that was trimming it just days before this accident. The view was crystal clear. The train was screeching and moaning as it tried to stop. Tons of equipment, fully loaded, really just grind to a stop. Must have taken the Friday about a mile to finally drag to a full stop.
Morgan Kelly, please read your witness testimony.
My name is Morgan Kelly. Until 18 months ago, I served as Central Regional Supervisor for the National Transportation Safety Alliance. It was my job to investigate public transportation or freight accidents. The distance from the whistle post at the edge of the trees to the crossing mile is 1/4 of a mile. This is industry standard. The study of the train involved in this particular accident found that the whistle was able to achieve the specified decibel level. When the engineer laid on the whistle and applied the emergency brakes, he or she was doing everything he or she could to stop that train. The maximum rate of speed allowed by state and federal regulation on those tracks is 60 miles per hour. With a load as heavy as this train was carrying, the rate of speed approximately 54 miles per hour is standard. What was unusual was the amount of dirt on the truck. The visibility could have been seriously reduced given the layers of dust on the one remaining window. The one on the passenger side. I read the 911 report and the rescue personnel indicated that the truck stereo was really loud, with the volume control turned up about 3/4 volume capacity.
Defense, do you have questions for the witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. This question is directed to Jan Martin. How many years have you been working at this company?
I've been working for 20 years. It's been my livelihood for most of my life.
Have you faced any other accidents during these 20 years?
No, my record is spotless, and I've always made sure to take this necessary safety precautions.
What was the weather like on May 10, 1999?
It was a clear afternoon. There were barely any clouds in the sky. The sun wasn't obstructed at all. I could see clearly.
How fast was the train traveling?
Little under 60 miles per hour, as I said in my testimony, and 60 was the maximum speed allowed on said tracks.
What safety precautions did you take to try to prevent the crash?
As soon as I saw the truck, I blew the whistle as much as I could and as loud as I possibly could. Then once I saw that the truck was not stopping, I proceeded to hit the brakes and try to stop the train. Thank you.
Again, this question is also directed to Mr. Denton Martin. Have you ever experienced a problem with the whistle before? And was there any, like, if so, if,
No, my whistle has worked perfectly for the last couple of years, although I haven't had to use it much since there hasn't been many accidents on the road.
have you seen anything weird, particularly using it here in this case?
No, it seemed just as loud as it normally is.
So have you ever used it in the past? And if so, if you have used it in the past,
Objection, asked and answered.
I didn't complete my question, Your Honor.
Please complete your question.
So if you used it in the past, have other drivers noticed the whistle and heard the whistle? If you have blown in the past?
Objection, speculation. Overruled.
I have used it in the past, and normally whenever I use it, the people hear it and they seem to come to a stop right before the tracks, and I keep going.
Thank you.
This question is directed to Ari Milano. Did you see the truck stop at all while crossing the train tracks?
Well, all I saw was, I'm pretty sure, or at least pretty certain, that I still saw the truck moving, even after the train was still flashing lights. And I didn't know if, well, I didn't know if the car, or the people in the car saw the flashing lights, but if I were in that car, I would definitely stop and not go across that roadway. Sorry.
Were the leads trimmed that way?
Yes, they were actually. I said in my testimony that my crew just days before the crash cut out the leads. I could definitely say that they were short enough to see both the signs and also the incoming train.
Were the lights flashing at the crossing?
Yes, they were actually. The lights were flashing the entire time. Wow. And yeah, the lights were flashing the entire time.
This question is directed to Morgan Kelly. You said that the train's whistle had hit its decibel limit. Do you know what this limit is?
I do not know what it is, but I know it was pretty loud.
You said that you studied the train after the accident, and what was the condition for the train after the collision?
The train's condition was pretty good, and then I didn't see any damaged parts or anything.
How dirty were the windows? As Jan Martin stated that he saw it through afternoon.
Of the truck or the tree?
The train.
The windows were pretty clear, and then you could see clearly out of it.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have questions for the witnesses? Yes, we do, Your Honor. This question is directed towards Ari Milano. Where were you and what did you see when you were before the incident occurred?
Objection, Your Honor. Two questions at once.
Overruled.
Well, I was approximately 1/4 mile away before the incident occurred. All I saw was the train was coming. I couldn't tell whether or not the whistle was blowing or not, but I could definitely see the flashing lights. And I didn't see the truck stop at all. And importantly, I didn't see the trucks have brake lights either. So, yeah, that's what I saw during that, before the incident.
This question is directed to Ari Milano. So was it easy or hard to notice the train coming?
From my perspective, I think, in my personal opinion at least, it was very easy to see. The lights were definitely bright enough to see, the train coming towards the truck. So I think
what were you doing specifically before the crash and before you trying to stop it?
For the crash, I was simply going on my normal route. Then I saw the truck and blew the whistle. And then shortly after I saw the truck wasn't stopping, I started hitting the brakes.
Were you doing anything else by, were you distracted before the crash? Or were you
No, I always make sure I'm just focused on the rails and around the rails, make sure to get into any accidents.
This question is directed to Ms. Milano. In your opinion, if you were a driver on the road, would it be hard to see the train income?
I don't think it would be hard at all.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained. Please finish your question.
Thank you.
This question is directed towards Morgan Kelly. Were any parts of the train missing?
No parts of the train were missing. The train was in good condition, and as I stated, there was no fault with the train.
Do you know when the whistle was last replaced?
I do not know that, but in looking at the whistle's condition, I can tell that the whistle was brand new and it was in very good condition.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense witnesses, you are dismissed.
Has his face valid.
Prosecution, please stand and deliver your closing statement.
So, members of this courtroom, being fair requires people to be honest and justice to be delivered when a tragedy occurs and when evidence needs to be bringing out the truth. This moral is seen in Proverbs 24, where it is taught that showing partiality in judgment is wrong, and then one should convict someone who is guilty. Here today, in this case, we see the sorrowful death of Haley, a 17-year-old whose life got taken away from him at the railroad crossing. We believe that the train company is guilty due to many reasons. The negligence that caused the death of Haley Gilmore at this crossing was tragic, as the train company knew that the people had used the road, knew that it was a rural landscape, and knew the dangers of the crossing, which is why they would have needed the crossing and a whistle. Yet the evidence proves that the whistle was not loud enough to be heard, causing this tragedy to occur. Haley Gilmore died due to this irresponsible negligence. Not only this, but 2 other people were severely injured and hospitalized. This could have been a preventable tragedy, but the carelessness of the Midwestern Rail Company caused this. So this behavior cannot be excused due to the inalienable rights of the people in the car hit by the train. Nothing will bring back Haley, but this money will ease the grief of this great burden. This will also make it up to the parents and to the people who got injured. Thank you.
Defense, please stand and deliver your closing statement.
Thank you. Thank you for ladies and gentlemen of the jury for going through this and listening to what we have to say. I would like to remind you that in this court we are innocent until proven guilty, and evidence shown today clearly does not show 100% or maybe even 95% of the fact that we and our clients are guilty of this case. First of all, we like to look at the car, which first of all was a newer car, so newer cars have better speakers, which explains the music, plus the gravel, which would also make a bunch of noise, plus they were singing, so obviously you would be distracted by that, which isn't technically not negligence towards the train company, but rather towards the driver. Many key recipes. And in addition, we have our witnesses here clearly have stated that the whistle was at normal condition. It was fine. So was the lights. And 1 foot mile is actually the standard of length from the trees to the track. It was just inertia that would have been hard to fight. All of these factors factor into a fact that it's not 100% guilty. You can't convict a person with this too many coincidences or whatever you call it. I pray that you would make the right decision and may the best win.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your duty is to decide whether Midwestern States Railroad Company was negligent in operating a safe railway in such a way that led to the death of Haley Gilmore, or if Gilmore drove in such a way that led to his death. The plaintiff is seeking monetary damages.
All right, guys, all that would happen now is that we'd have the jury go to the deliberation room, but we want you guys to be able to hear the jury, so we're slightly changing it this year. And so I'd ask kindly for all of our lawyers, witnesses, to quietly exit out and hang outside in the hallway. And if you're a member of the jury, could you guys come take a front seat in one of these 2 rows, please? Okay, jury, why don't we start with let's let them leave. Why don't we start with the preliminary votes? If you find the defendant guilty and you would ask them to pay some damages to the Gilmore family, please raise your hands. Thank you. If you find the defendant not guilty, please raise your hands. All right, so we have a jury member who's voting both ways. That's okay.
No, I switched.
Oh, you switched. Okay, you switched. Okay. Why don't we start by going around the jury room here and giving some of your reasons for why you voted the way you did. We can start with Aaron. Go ahead.
Well, because it was out of the country, it was not permitted to have crossbars. I mean, no, it was not required to have crossbars by the law. So Haley was speeding up before he got to the junction, right? Yeah, okay, so like, even if you have passengers on it, like, you shouldn't have really speeding up before you get to the traffic. Even if you knew or didn't know that there was a train coming, like, you wouldn't do that.
We can move on. We can come back to you later. Go ahead, Liam.
So Ari Milano, the farmer, he said that he doesn't know if the train whistle blew, but everyone else said the train whistle did. So, and also Haley and the other witnesses said that they heard cars honking, but not the train whistle. So then the train whistle should be louder than cars. So why would they not hear it?
Thank you. Go ahead, Justin.
Okay, I think the train company is not guilty because before going Haley, Gilmore should have saw both sides before going on. And also, Haley Gilmore should have saw flashing lights because it was really bright and as it says.
Thank you. Tyler.
I vote not guilty because it was a clear afternoon. There were flashing lights and advanced paintings. And Haley only had 1 year of driving experience, which is not a lot. And the visibility of the truck may be reduced because the truck was dirty. And the sound of whistle could reach decibels that it would require.
Thank you. Celine.
I vote not guilty for the train company because, like everyone saying, it was a clear afternoon, and Haley was speeding up on a train track, and it said that he didn't look left or right, he just was looking straight ahead, and he wasn't paying attention of his surroundings, so.
Go ahead. Grayson.
So, I vote not guilty because there was clear vegetation and there were flashing lights, bells, and the whistle, there was no problem with the whistle. And as Arnold Milano said, he could hear and see the train. So if he could hear it, then people in the car should hear it. And then he never saw the brake lights on the truck, so maybe the truck was speeding or something.
Okay, so I think the train company is not guilty for a few reasons. Because were looking at the road like pretty good, and there was a X on the road, and they should have seen that and known that they were close to something that could be dangerous. And also, the weeds were trimmed, which means it is easy to see a train coming, and everything, like the guardrail coming down, was not required, as someone else said, and everything was up to standard.
So I think they were not guilty because there was a big X in the road which should mark it. And also they had like, as I think one of the witnesses said, like the volume in the stereo and the volume in the stereo was really high. So that could have prevented them from hearing the whistle, which the engineer says he definitely.
Thank you. Liam, would you like to ask your fellow jurors any questions or offer any other arguments?
So, Joshua, you said that the volume was higher than the air conditioning. They said that they heard cars honking, but not the train whistle, so how do we know it actually blew?
Well, like cars are like closer to them, where the train was still going around the bend.
But usually it would be much louder than honking.
Anyone else want to respond? Go ahead, Celine. And then Aaron.
So how you were saying that for like a car, they said that when they were listening to my music and listening to the air conditioning, they said that they were focused on music and singing along with it, but so maybe they weren't like paying attention to the road and maybe like paying more.
They said they were singing, but mostly like looking at the road.
You want to say something, Aaron?
Was the whistle dusty?
Go ahead, Tyler.
It wasn't dusty, and one of the witnesses said that the whistle was in good condition, and the driver of the train said that the whistle had no issue, and that he blew it.
Remember to speak up and loud so everyone can hear.
So maybe the driver just didn't hear it.
Any other points? Yes, go ahead, Grace.
Well, the train conductor did say that the whistle was at normal condition, so you can clearly hear the whistle.
Well, most of the people said that they couldn't hear it or didn't know if it blew. Also, the Jan Martin said that like the whistle was like the train was old for like he's been doing this for a long time, and like over a couple of years the whistle was fine, but maybe it broke down like this time.
Go ahead, Grace.
But she said that there were no missing parts.
Yeah, but what? But like you don't know.
Okay, great. Great job. Let's move on from the whistle, but great discussion so far. What do you guys think? Does the train company have a duty to have a gate at this crossing? Go ahead, Adam.
So it is not required by the law in a country area where there is not much people to have the crossing gate thing, and that is normal for a country area to not have it.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, what he said.
So it's not required by whom?
The law.
Okay. Do you think a gate would be a good idea? Set aside your feelings about the law. Do you think a gate would be a good idea?
Yeah, but they probably didn't add it because of financial money and cost.
Do you think that Haley would be here if there was a gate?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Liam.
She definitely would have. He definitely would have still most likely been alive, but her like his friends. And if there were like the crossbars, then he would have stopped and the train would have like went and it would be fine.
Okay, what do you guys think about that? One last point I wanted to bring up, a couple minutes left here. Do you guys place the blame, no moral blame, but do you place the blame for the outcome on Haley himself, those that voted not guilty? And if so, why?
Because,
So yes, you do.
yeah,
Okay.
because like I said earlier, the driver should have slowed down for coming up to the junction. Maybe even stop, just to be safe, even if you have passengers on board.
Anything else? Yeah.
I don't completely blame it on Haley, but if there were other passengers staying along, and that could distract her from like if there was a train. So it's not completely, if there was a train, it's not completely Haley's fault.
Okay. Grayson?
I would also say what Adam said. It's not completely her fault, but I would say put most of the distractions away when she's driving.
Him, sorry. Yeah, Haley's a him. Yeah.
Sorry, him.
No problem. So, you guys listen, you're not old enough to drive yet. I'm assuming one day when you are driving, you will listen to music, you'll be talking to your friends, right? Does that mean that it's okay that a train runs you over just because you're listening to music and talking with friends? So what's the difference in this case?
Oh, the music was like really loud, like louder than it should be. And like when they were singing along, it was good.
Okay, Celine?
You were saying in the car, maybe if you were to like have lowered the volume and like pay attention to the road and like look at your surroundings and see maybe what had happened, even if there wasn't like the bars.
Okay. Thank you guys, we are out of time, so, did anyone change their votes? We're at the same? Okay, so we're gonna stick with that. Okay, could you guys please quietly go back to your seats?